I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat. Quattro, part 4, people. Want to see a funny picture? How about this? I thought that was kind of cool. All right, so it's part 4 in question answer. We're going to learn a lot together. So let's get started. If you missed part 1, 2, and 3, they're there. I think I might make a special place in the playlist for all beginner chili head stuff and question and answer, so it's all located in one spot. So I think I'll do that. Anyhow, I got some good questions again from the bus. So let's get right into it. First of all, this is just a funny comment. It comes from Solitude 9767. Solitude says, at your age, you might really torturing your heart. I think he said B is missing. At your age, you might be really torturing your heart. I'm going to tell you the same thing. I'm going to tell you what my response was. I said it's a funny comment. It made me giggle when I read it. But the heart's a muscle. I exercise mine a lot. And I just said I hope he's exercising his or hers, whoever's. But that was a funny comment. Anyhow, never thought about my age before. I was thinking about it today. I'm like, geez, I wonder if I'm getting too old to eat peppers. Pfft, whatever. All right, so next up we have Gothy09. Gothy09 says, I never throw up after eating peppers, but sometimes I feel like I would. What makes me feel that way, I assume, is that it's my body's trying to reject the capsaicin, but sometimes it will happen with the mildest peppers, and it won't happen with a hotter pod. Why is that? All I can tell you is there's no research on specifically why that happens, because I looked. I know people who have a similar thing. I've mentioned I know somebody who can eat reapers. They're okay with reapers, but ghost peppers destroy his stomach. So it could just be, and this is this is a term that I'm not sure I really adopt, but a nemesis pepper, meaning a pepper that's just your nemesis. I'm not sure I believe in the whole nemesis theory, but when you see somebody who can eat a reaper and then stumbles with a ghost pepper, you can see why people might feel that way. So it could just be a case of this being your nemesis pepper, as they say. But keep working on your tolerance. You'll get there. Thank you for your question. All right. Next, we're going to go to, let's see here. We have 1961 Asheville. Johnny, I was wondering if you could tell me what the source of the heat in wasabi is. I'm guessing it's not the same as peppers, but I was just curious. Wasabi is spicy. I had to do a little research on this. Wasabi is spicy due to an organic chemical compound that's found in the plant called, are you ready for this? Try to pronounce this. Allyl isothiocyanate. It's the same compound that's also found in horseradish, okay? It's interesting. If you think about like horseradish, it's a funny thing. When you really can't really smell horseradish until you expose it to the air or chew it or grind it up. The bite and aroma of wasabi is almost absent until grated or ground. So anyway, there's their answer to that. I got, it's funny, I did a wasabi challenge video with College Boy and Big Al, and it was really funny. The video was up for like 10 minutes and it got demonetized. It's really funny. I've been very good, lucky that I've been good that way. They've been kind of cutting me some slack. They've let some things slide that I thought it was kind of a hairy one. But, everybody's tolerances is rising. People's individual tolerance as well as YouTube's. It's a good thing. All right. So next one is get off. I'm just gonna say it. Earmuffs for kids. Get off my nuts. says, I don't get cap cramps. I may be hurt a bit after it's passing through my system, but I've never cramped. Okay. I've had people say that, and I've been eating peppers for a really long time. I've had people say that. Like, here's what happens. When somebody hang out with me, a lot of times they'll bring peppers. They want to eat a pepper with me. It's like a thing. They want to eat a pepper with me. So I've had, since I started the channel, I can think of 3 funny ones where people said that they've never had cramp. They've never really had a really hot pepper. They've never cramped. And they've eaten peppers with me and then cramping really bad. I suspect that you probably absolutely could cramp. It's not like you're immune to it. I don't think anybody is. But it's just a matter of how much you're taking in. So, but if you're out of spot, here's what we got to tell. I want everybody to understand. It's not a race. It's not a contest. If we're sitting at a table and there's peppers in front of me and there's peppers in front of you, that's a contest. But like we're doing now, it's just fun for everybody. You know what I mean? So when you're on your journey, you don't need to hurt yourself. There are some people that like that. I'm a masochistic kind of person. So I kind of like it. I'm not the only one. Listen, it's really a funny thing. I was getting a tattoo. I was getting this tattoo. And David Foy was with me and a bunch of people in the shop. And it's a pain thing. And I said, if you went into like a parent-teachers meeting or something, or, in any other function and said, put your hand up if you like pain, you wouldn't get a whole lot of people that would put their hands up. But in a tattoo shop, I said, everybody here, put your hand up if you like pain. Everybody put their hand up. So there are certain people that like it. And for those people that like it, they can go after it like that. And, they derive some sort of pleasure out of that. I do. But you don't need to hurt yourself to be a chiliad. So just food for thought. Okay, so where are we here? Let me get back to... all right, next up we have... Michael Nightingale, 2245. Michael says, I'm not sure if you did this in a series in the past, but I'm really enjoying this one. I'm curious what's worse, digesting peppers or evacuating them that way, or just or purging, like either passing them regularly or purging. What's worse? I guess purging isn't as bad as you wouldn't go through that trouble. It depends on how many peppers you're dealing with. If I had a contest, like the last couple big challenges where I'm eating like chocolate prima donnas, it's in essence just like sitting at a belt match. Those are a lot of peppers and they're all really, really hot. So in something like that, purging is absolutely a lot easier on my body than trying to pass 20, chocolate prima donnas. Now, I will tell you this. This is something we need to talk about. It's not pleasant, but it's information you need to know. Let's say for the sake of, here, you know what? Let me do this. This is really an amazing pepper because if you guys look at this pepper, it looks identical to the Chase the Heat logo pepper. Doesn't that look identical to it? Anyway, let's say that I eat this pepper and I swallow the pepper, all right? And I'm fine. But let's say I eat 3 more. So now I've got 4 of these hot peppers in my stomach, and that's too much. I'm having trouble. My throat has the irritation, and my mouth has the irritation of 4 super hot peppers. If I go to the bathroom and I eject them, it's not like they come out a different, airway. It comes out the same way it went in. So what ends up happening is after you throw those peppers up, your throat now feels the pain of 8 peppers because 4 more. And I'm telling you, I'm not making any of this up. Ask anybody who's chucked on, who's done this at length, and they'll tell you. So, and you got to think about that. So it's a catch-22 to a degree. In a big contest, like the last belt match I did with Sheena, I ate 50 something peppers. Passing 50 peppers the normal way would be a nightmare. It would be, the pain would be exquisite. I'll tell you that. But throwing them up, think about this. I've eaten 50 peppers. I'm throwing up. My throat is going to feel the pain of 100 because all those peppers are chewed up. All that capsaicin is sitting in a puddle, and when you bring it up, it's just destroying your throat. So that's something that you need to consider. if like I would, if I'm not eating like a half a dozen peppers, I'm not going to purge anyway. That's a normal day for me. I'm just going to get up and go do my thing. More than that, I'll start weighing it out. What peppers have I eaten? You know what I mean? But it's kind of a catch-22. It's really like, I don't know. I'm going to dip Sonny Spicer, Sonny the Beast Spicer in the grease. He said, it was funny. We were at we were at Jungle Gyms, and he had done the C3 challenge. And a really gallant effort. The guy was a beast. Didn't finish the contest, and he was cramping really bad. And while he was in the midst of these cramps, he said he wanted to become known as the no prep challenge king. After that, he decided it was not the best idea. Cramps are a nightmare. They're just something that's we're going to talk more about them because there are more cramp questions coming up. But you just got to weigh it out. You know what I mean? You got to decide which one's worse for you personally. Then we got GS says, is 16 million Scoville the highest number? It is for peppers. And the way they do that is they extract all the capsaicin from the plant, and the hotter the pepper, that's how they can reach 16 million. Naturally, through peppers, a couple million is where we're stuck at, it seems like. Now, there's a plant called Euphorbia resinifera. I have one right over there. I wish I had thought this out. I would have pulled out and showed you. It looks like a cactus. However, it's not a cactus. It's a plant. So I've named it Robert Plant. Come on, I got a cactus that it looks like a cactus, but it's not. So I named it Robert Plant. Sorry, but that's brilliant. Anyway, it produces a toxin called resin ferrotoxin, and that substance in that cactus that's in my other room under a grow light, that cactus can reach 16 billion Scoville heat units. Now it's not like, it doesn't burn exactly like capsaicin does. It's different. It's a different compound. However, in humans, it feels the same. It affects us the same. So next season, in season 8 of Chase the Heat, we're about to finish up season 7 in another month and a few days. After we finish up season 7, in season 8, I'm going to do a resin ferrotoxin video. Yes, I am. I don't want my mom to know about this. She would be not happy with me. Anyway, that's GS. 16 million is the highest you can get with peppers. Bizzle, my dude, says to expand on my tincture question. What is the hottest, tincture or extract? They can be the same. You can get 16. You can get like. Oh, do I have it here? Did I leave it? May have left it in the car. I have some 13 million Scoville pure capsaicin drops from Pure Evil. It's 13 million. Well, I can get extract that's that hot. All right. In fact, you have some, Bizzle. That's 16 million, right? Or no, you have 9 million. So if I gave you 9 million Scoville tincture, and you did 1 drop of 9 million Scoville tincture, and you saw how long it took for that burn to go away, and then a little while later you took extract on a toothpick and put it in your mouth and had the extract is going to feel like it burns worse. And here's why I believe that is. And there's not like empirical evidence to back this up. There's just a lot of extract and capsaicin done. Tincture, do I have a bottle of tincture handy? I don't. All right, here's some tincture. So you don't see the label. Here's some tincture. 1 drop of this, it's a drop. 1 drop of a liquid, right? Extract, like the 9 million you had, Bizzle, that I sent you. If you take the top off and look in there, that is a dark black paste, all right? So if you took a toothpick and stuck it in there and took what was on the toothpick, you've got this pasty, it's not like a liquid that just absorbs in your mouth, it's gone in a second. It's a pasty thing that gets on your tongue, and the burn is just like, look, I've done 16 million Scoville pure capsaicin crystals, pure. I've done it, dissolved them in glycerin and drank it. Brutal, right? I've done 9 million Scoville extract from plutonium-9. The times I chugged that that hurt more. Plutonium-9 burns more to me than 16 million Scoville pure crystals do, because the extract is just coats your mouth. It's just a pasty nightmare. Now I think, I just think they're different. They burn way differently. If you want a really bad burn, dude, I sent you that 9 million Scoville. It's in that tub, that little from the pharmacy. Listen, if you get, that'll do it. You just got, here's the thing about that. And I'm talking specifically to Bizzle because I sent him some stuff and he asked the question, but be careful with the that 9 million Scoville stuff. Listen, here's the deal. At some point, with a guy like you, you're going to have to get burned really bad at some point just to go, okay, I get it now. You're just that guy, So I get it. But just be careful with the extract. It's very, very tough. So that's my best answer. I wish I had an empirical answer I could give you from a textbook, but this is just from road work and eating a lot of peppers. Who do we got here? We got Moondog7862 asks, can eating hot peppers blister your mouth or throat, or is it just the feeling of burning? Now, it is just the feeling. Your skin is not burning. It's just the reaction when the capsaicin bonds to your tongue, and there are receptors, and that's how our brain processes it, like it's burning, but it's really not. So there's nothing to worry about. That said, I have heard people claim that they got blistered from eating peppers. A couple of them have been at a pepper event where I don't put much weight on what they're saying. They're just passing by and they don't really know them. I've had somebody I know say that, which kind of made, I didn't question the person. I didn't say, I don't think so. The reason I say that is because I've eaten the hottest stuff on the planet, like over and over and over and over and over again. And I've never blistered. Now, we'll tell you this. The video that has the most views on this channel, it's called the Panic Mode. That video, I drank 2 bottles of tincture and I put the last one in a pepper and ate it. And the next day, my gums hurt on my mouth. My gums hurt the next day. They weren't blistered, okay? There was no blistering. But man, it really hurt. So it's going to feel like it's burning. It's not. Another thing, I should have got that too. I have some muscle rub that has capsaicin in it, all right? It's medical. You buy over the counter. And it's got capsaicin in it. It's got this. That's the chemical formula for capsaicin. It's got the same thing in this muscle rub. When you put it on your shoulder or back or whatever, it burns. It's penetrating your skin, and that burning, it's good for you. And a lot of people hate that burning. I even like that burning, but it's not really burning. It's just that's how our brains interpret what's happening on our skin. So, anyhow. Next up, we've got George Howland, 885. I wish I could watch these kind of videos all day. I do have something on my mind regarding accumulation. And that's how hot sauce is made with multiple peppers types or just a bunch of the same peppers. Can vary in heat. Can Scovilles of different pepper types combine and raise the levels in so doing? Or is it a matter of just how much reducing via salt, vinegar, etc. is involved, taking the levels down or keeping them at close to peak amount of peppers used? Great question, George. Here, think of it like this. Let's say I have a big pot and I'm throwing peppers in, or I'm making mash. Whatever my hottest pepper is, that's the maximum, and it's not even going to be that, because if every pepper was that way, that's how hot your mash. For instance, if I have a whole mix of peppers and a few of them are 2 million, but most of them are around 500,000. When we mix them all up, that isn't going to be 500,000. It isn't going to be 2. It's going to be a little bit over 500,000. Not a whole lot, because there's a lot more of the 500,000 in that example I just gave you. So they're going to balance out. You can't. It's not like a magical combination will make the peppers hotter, and they don't accumulate like I said in a previous video. If I have, let's assume these 2 peppers here, right here, which are probably the 2 best specimens of peppers I've ever seen. Look, are they not perfect? I mean, for real. Look, I'm trying to get that so you can get a contrast, because you can on my shirt. I guess you can. Just perfect peppers. But let's say these are 2 million each. If I eat them, I have not eaten 4 million Scoville heat units. I've just eaten 2 peppers at 2 million each. Okay, it might feel like 4 million because it compounds and starts building, and it doesn't just stay. It's not like you can eat 30 and it's going to still stay the heat from the first one. It builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. So it might feel like 4, but you're still only eating 2. So it's the same way with putting stuff in. Like when you putting stuff in a sauce, they're going to mix and blend. And like you said, reducing it every time. Here's the thing. Think about this for a minute. When sauce makers use a mash that is acidified, it's got vinegar in it. Okay, they've already cut that mash. So let's say it's let's pick on the Carolina Reaper. Let's say it's $1.5 million. All right, the minute you cut it with vinegar to preserve it, to stop the growth, that's what that does. The minute you do that, you're weakening. You're blending some stuff in. You're diluting it, so you've already lost some heat. Then when that sauce maker takes the mash, they start some mash. They're going to add all kinds of other grease. They usually add some more vinegar. They're going to add some other stuff, right? That's what happens. And every single thing you add to that, it's going to decrease the volume because you're losing your concentration. So that's kind of how it works. That's why sauce makers, I said this in one of the other videos, someone said, when is enough? It's never enough. If there was a 100 million Scoville pepper, you wouldn't need 7 tons of it to make sauce. You could buy 2 or 3 peppers and make sauce for 1,000 bottles. So the hotter your peppers are, the hotter your mash is, the less you're going to need it to make your sauce and your product's hotter. So anyway, I hope that kind of helps. All right. Thank you, George. The next one is Evan Kirk 97. What do you recommend for extracts? Been wanting to get capsaicin extract lately. Cheers. Ashley Food they're the grandfather of extract. They've pioneered so much into extracts. They really have. You can think of 44 Magnum. It's 4 million Scoville units. Great product. And listen, the products are horrible if you drink them like I did. They were never meant to be consumed like that. They're meant to be added into food, like added into a chili or something. Used properly and intelligently, okay? It's an amazing product, all right? So you have the 44 Magnum from Ashley Food Company, which is 4 million Scoville units. Then you have the Mark of the Beast. That's 6 million Scoville units. If you haven't seen that video, go watch that. It's here. I gargled it. And then they have plutonium 9, which is 9 million Scoville units. The taste on all 3 of those, whether you go for the 4 million, the 6 million, or the 9 million, the taste on them are identical. It tastes exactly the same. It's just the amount of heat you get. So if you get extract, like with tincture, I take tincture all the time. I just put it on my tongue. I've rarely ever put tincture on food. I just put tincture in my mouth, all right? Extract, you don't. Extract, you're going to put into food. So it's a little bit different. You know what I mean? You want to be really careful if you get plutonium or the Mark of the Beast or the 44 Magnum. Just know what they're used for. Don't do what I did. And if you watch those videos, I say, don't do this. Don't do this at all. But anyway, since they're the kind of, they pioneered so much of the, everything we've learned about extracts, they're a good place to go. And tell David Ashley I said hello. All right, Captain Concarne says, hi, Johnny. My tolerance has really improved over the last 5 or 6 weeks. I love that. If your tolerance has gone up and you've seen an improvement, please say something in the comments. I started on hot sauces, which initially I could only do a drop of. And within a few days, I had to buy hotter sauces. Captain Concarne. I ended up with 85% Reaper mash, to which I added a bag of dried Reaper powder and some extract over 2 weeks and increased how much I could eat until I could eat a full tablespoon. My mouth handles it okay, but within 5 minutes, I suffer excruciating cap cramps. If I persevere, will these pains lessen over time? I find them to be so much worse than the heat in my mouth. I found a big, by the way, he says, I found if I eat a big handful of salty peanuts before I eat the Reaper sauce, then I don't seem to get as bad at cap cramps. And the best so far has been doughy, cheesy pineapple pizza. Not so good for the diet. Love your channel, Johnny. All right, Captain Concarne. So here's the deal. There's a couple things going on here. It could just be a case of you just being a lunatic and pushing it too hard. I mean that in the nicest, most loving way. Like David Martin, the Pepper Apprentice. Guy's a crazy man. Well, he doesn't even know peppers yet. He's like, yeah, I'll eat that. It was just so much fun. So listen, if that's just your spirit, you're kind of adventurous and you're that guy, then you just gotta tough it out and suffer with it. It will get better. But you can increase incrementally, slowly, all right? And go just a little bit at a time, and you can get to I can't remember who I was talking to. I was talking to somebody that had never had calf cramps. And I mean, I know them to be chili heads. I can't remember who it was, but I remember being floored by the fact they had never said they had never had cramps before. So it is something that builds with tolerance, and it builds quicker than most people think, but a lot slower than the tolerance in your mouth. For instance, in the very beginning of the pepper season, all right, I haven't eaten peppers all year. I'm going to the grocery store eating habaneros because I'm jonesing for some, capsaicin, drinking tincture and stuff because I can't get anything hot. Then the pepper season happens. Tom Broom will send me some peppers, and I'll eat 2 peppers, and I'll cramp so badly from 2 peppers. When at the end of the season before, I could eat a half a dozen on an empty stomach and be okay. Just eat peppers and then go to work. So like in the beginning of the season, my tolerance is down, my stomach everywhere, and it takes time to build that. Now, I've been doing this forever, so even when I'm at my lowest, I still have a much higher tolerance than most people. It's just the way I am. But it will lessen over time. What I would say is just neck it in a little bit. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do a whole teaspoon of that, Maybe a half a teaspoon. If you do half a teaspoon regularly, you're still boosting your tolerance like crazy. I just hate, listen, I'm not a sadist. I hate thinking about you in pain. I hate thinking about any of you guys in pain. I'm a masochist. I like thinking about me in pain. But it bums me out thinking about somebody else in pain. So just be really careful with how you do it. Prepping, I can't emphasize how important prepping is. It's a super important thing. If you don't prep, you are going to pay. I'm telling you, I think every chili head who's like a real chili head, and there's a million of us, every one of us has a story. Just ask them. You ever do a challenge on empty stomach? Everybody's got a story. Everybody. Sonny, he did that challenge in Jungle Gyms on an empty stomach. Ask him if he liked it. I'm a guy who likes pain, and I'm telling you, it's a drag. It's brutal. It's a tough thing. It's the bane of every chili head's existence. So hang in there, Captain Con Carne. Another thing is, it's the case of wanting to sprint before you're really running yet. And I'm not knocking where you're at. I was the same way. I'm still the same way. Look, second I can get my hands on some resin ferrotoxin, I'm doing it. I don't care how much it hurts. You probably would too. That's this. Just be careful. All right, next up we got SG 2823. This is why we get on the bus to go to school and learn Pepperology 101. Not sure about the 101 part because I don't want to be too close to Heat 101, but I like the Pepperology. I like it. We have to call this series Pepperology with your host, Professor Scoville. All right, so now we're on, we got Chaotic Demon HD. How old were you when you first got into eating hot peppers, and who got you into eating them? I was the first pepper, from the best of my recollection, I think the first pepper I ate, I was somewhere more than likely single digits. I was probably 7, 8, or 9. I might have been 10, but I doubt it. I was probably between 7 and 9 is what I can mostly figure out. And the person who got me into them was my dad. My dad was eating pepperoncini, and I was a little guy. I said, I want one. And he said, you're not going to like it. I said, I want one. He goes, they're hot. You won't like it. I said, I want one. 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 I went Bart Simpson on him. I want one. I want one. I want one. Wouldn't stop. So finally he's like, okay. He's waving the white flag. He goes, here. You're not going to like it. And he gave me a pepperoncini. And I loved it. And that started it. And then every time we ever went anywhere to eat, I wanted it hot. It was never hot enough. It was never hot enough. It was extra everything. Every time I ever, drove my parents crazy. We go to a Chinese restaurant, make it extra hot, spicy, not temperature hot. I say make sure they tell them, spicy hot, not temperature, because they always get it wrong. They bring it to the table, it's like flaming, but anyway, I've always been that guy. So now the first super hot I ate was probably 15 years ago. Ghost peppers are super hot. Yeah, maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It's been a while. I've eaten a couple thousand peppers since I started the channel. So keep eating them. It's a good thing. Thank you for your question. The next up, we've got Ben Sigliano. Love that. Hey, Paisan. If you swallow a pepper without chewing it, given that you don't vomit, with the cap tolerance, will the tolerance in your mouth still rise? Great question. Great question. What he's saying is like let's say I just take some of this hot sauce, swoosh my around, keep it in my mouth for like a minute, and spit it out. Is that going to make my tolerance in my mouth rise? Absolutely. I promise you. You betcha. Take it one step further. Someone, in a different video, or I would have, I'm glad I'm answering it now, but they said, do you think it's possible to get an endorphin rush? If you chew up peppers, you have no tolerance, you chew up something really hot, but you don't swallow it. And I think, yeah, I do. I absolutely do. I think it's possible. If somebody had no tolerance at all, right? Somebody's just no tolerance at all. I mean, toast, just nothing spicy. And you gave them a mouthful of something hot and tell them keep it in the mouth for a while. I can see them getting an endorphin rush from that. Endorphin rush doesn't happen from digestion. It's just a reaction to pain. That's all it is. And if you have trauma going on in your body's going to do something about it. The pharmacy is going to get unlocked and flood your body with endorphins. So you betcha it can happen. Absolutely. Good question. Excellent question. Ben Sigliano. All right. Next up we got, was that it? I think that was it. People, that was it for the questions for today's session. I hope you took notes. There's no test. Here's the cool thing. You know what? When you're studying something that you don't really like, you got to study, you got to read it, you got to get tests on it. When you're learning something that you're passionate about, you don't need to write it down. You're hearing it. You're passionate about it. Totally different, isn't it? If you start talking about molecular biology or something, get your notepads out. Anyhow, if you have questions, inevitably what's going to happen is you're going to hear me say something in answering a question. In this video, it's going to trigger you thinking about a different question. So if you've got some questions about tolerance, about peppers, about anything, about me, about the pepper community, ask away. Leave your question in this video, and I will be, same thing. In the next video, all the questions that are asked in this video are going to answer in the next one. So if you got a question you want asked, do it. In the description box, you'll see all the normal stuff. Right there is the pepper, right there is the boat. Right here, more videos. I'm Johnny Scoville, Professor Scoville, and this was Chase the